Okay, this time we're going to run through using NX Studio to analyze some training data. Just as a bit of a refresher, if you remember, we've got our Session Explorer up here in the top right-hand corner of NX Studio, and this is where we can go and see whatever files that we've downloaded off the units. So if you remember, we store, or in my case, I choose to store everything inside my Documents folder, under NX Nautilus, under individual sessions, and I break it up into race data and training data. And this is specifically some data from July this year. So I've selected July as my training data, as a directory I want to look at, hit OK, and you can see that I've got 4 files that have come up for training data I've got in July. You can do this by the athlete or however you choose to do it, it's up to you. Okay, I'm going to have a look at some training that was done on the 4th of July for this particular athlete. And we can open it up, and as you can see up here, this is the file we're opening from the 4th of July, and it was off Unit 224. And in this particular session, it's a combination of some, it's a lead into a regatta session, and there's a combination of some standing pieces and also some rolling pieces. So it's pretty easy to pick the difference. You can see that the standing pieces, again, if we look at the velocity and we scroll to zoom in a little bit, we can see that the standing pieces come from pretty much, there's a no velocity to start with. Whereas if we look at the rolling pieces, we can see that they've rolled a velocity into the piece and then finished. And that's what we're going to analyze today. We're going to look at some rolling data. We've done a standing data in the race. So to export that particular section, that standing section, it's no different to our race data, but we're going to do a rolling section just so you can see a little bit of a different scenario and how we go about picking the start again. So I'm going to scroll into it so I can have a better look at that particular piece of training. And if I have a look up the top here, I can see the velocity at which the boat is moving at, and down the bottom here, I can see the acceleration. And once again, I'm going to use a combination of the acceleration data and the velocity data to determine where the start was, and then automatically go and place the finish line. Now, I know that this was in the training set, this was a 200-meter piece. So I know that my end distance is going to be 200 meters. And I can choose the appropriate split that I want to look at. So in this case here, as I'm looking for the data, I'm looking to see where the start line is, I typically use the acceleration data, and I scan through and find where the largest accelerations is. So in other words, this is where the athlete has run into the piece, has slowly come in, and then all of a sudden, this is what I'm going to have to deem as being where the start of the training effort was. So I'm going to simply click on the screen. Instead of hitting S this time, I'm going to place my start cursor onto the chart. And if I hit place on chart, it will now place my start timeline basically in the middle of the area that I've zoomed into. I can then drag that just by holding down the left mouse button. I can drag it to where I'd like to place it. So in this case here, I'm going to start it just at the bottom of that acceleration, just before the first largest acceleration starts to occur. And I'm going to call that my start. And if you remember, this was a 200-meter piece, so I'm going to set 200 meter as my distance. And in this particular case, I'm wanting to look at it in 25-meter splits. So I've chosen 25. Sorry, the stroke type, again, I've already looked at this data, so it's automatically come up as kayaking. If I hadn't looked at it, it would have come up as unknown to start with, and I need to select kayaking because this is a kayak trial. And now I'm going to run the process. And it's telling me down here in the message box, it's found the finish time, it's put in the intermediate distance, and it's found the split distance events. So if I want to zoom in, I can have a look at what I've selected. And in this particular case, I'm only interested in the first 200 meters. And you can see here that I've got my 50-meter split time, I've got my start position and my 50-meter split time. Now, you might want to say, okay, I don't actually want to include this acceleration phase, I really just want to get to where the athlete was at the maximum speed. And that's fine. So all you need to do is come back down here, grab your start line, drag your start line to wherever you'd like to start it from. And in this case here, I'm going to start it from that position there. And I'm going to rerun the process. And it's now going to move my finish line and all of my split distances. So now you can see that I've created my start position is from where their maximum velocity was. And we've now got 200 meters from that point there. And again, we've got our individual 25 meters, this time split distances and the times that they occurred. So it's told me for that 200 meters, that particular athlete doing that flying effort went through in 44.91 seconds. Now that I've grabbed that information, that might be simply enough. All we may want is just simply the finish time, in which case you can write that down and move on to the next effort. But we actually don't want that. We want to do a little bit more with it. So I'm going to send this data now to the clipboard. So I'm going to send it to CB, copy to the clipboard, into a summary file. And I click on the copy to clipboard, and it's telling me that it's begun and it's already completed. Now, one of the other Excel templates that you would have received, and I've just got it open so I can easily come into it, is our training analysis template. And this little template is just set up so that you can bring data straight from the clipboard. You can drop it into this area and specifically into cell A2, which is this cell here, and then we can do some sort of analysis of it for you. You can tailor this, you can do whatever you like, you can take the data. If you have a look in this particular spreadsheet, one of the things we've included is all of the formulas that we're using to create different cells so that you can go and see how we've done it, and then you can create the data and go and do it yourself as well. Okay, so I'm in clipboard report 1. Now, one of the first things I want to do is, because this is a template and I don't want to overwrite this template, I'm just going to turn off autosave for the moment, and I'm going to create a copy. And I'm going to put the copy into a directory I have in my documents area. And this is just a directory that I've created. You can put it wherever you like. I have a directory here for July, and I've just called it athlete training data. You might want to use the actually you want to divide it up into athletes' names. And I'm going to change this so it's not a template, it's not our clipboard template anymore. I'm just going to rename it. I'm going to call it athlete training analysis. And effort 1 on 2025-07-04. And I might put out to the side 200 meters, so I know that that was a 200 meter effort and save. But you can do whatever you like. You can call it whatever you like. It's up to you. And then once you've done that, if you come back here now into the template, click on cell A2, and hit Control V, it will automatically bring the data in. So you can see here, in this case here, we had a file from unit number 224. The distance was 200 meters, the split distance was 25 meters, and we can see that we brought the data in. So we've dropped the data now onto this sheet, and if we move across over here, you can see now that we've already started to do some calculations for you. So we'll just bring it over. So again, you can tailor this, put your own sport name up in there, post in your own logo, so whatever you'd like to do. Add in your athlete. So we'll just call this athlete 1. Boat class was, of course, a K1. And if you want to, you can include your environmental data. So we've now divided it up and started to give you some summary metrics. Once again, set the situation up so you can choose your own speed units. This time here we'll use kilometers per hour. And in this particular case, we can see the effort length was 200 meters. The effort time was 44.91 seconds. The maximum speed that they attained was 17.31 kilometers an hour. The average speed was 16. The maximum split time was 592. The minimum, or the average split time, sorry, the slowest split time was 592. The average split time was 561 for the 25 meter splits. And now we have all of our 25 meter data broken up as well. So we've got the split time, the speeds, the pace per 500 meters, the number of strokes within that 25 meter split, the actual stroke rates, the distance per stroke, and some normalized variables for you to look at. And lastly, we have a series of graphs that can start to come up. You will need to just jump into the graphs and tailor the graphs just so that they can fit your data. So in this case here, you can see that it's saying the maximum length is 300. Really all we want is 200. So we can just change that to 200. We might choose to say that in this case here, we want the minor unit to be 25. And you can see that that's now going to appear. Sorry, and we'll make the major unit 50 meters. So you can see that it started to give us a little bit more detail. And similarly up here, we can change our velocity, our speed and stroke rate chart. And in this case here, we're going to, we're only interested in 200 meters. And we might make our minor 25. No different to what you'd use any other time. And there's our velocity and stroke rate chart, our speed being kilometers per hour, and our stroke rate. And this is our split times down here. And once again, this has gotten a bit confused. It's looking for a little bit more data than what we had for it. And in this case here, we're only going to want 0 to 200 meters. We just need to change our data. And hopefully that time it has fixed it up. So we can see here, this was the time for each one of our 25 meter splits. You're more than welcome. You can customize, create your own charts. The pages are designed so now that if you want to go and print that out, it will print out this page first and then the graph page second. And once we've done that, you've now created all of the information for that particular training effort. If we don't have auto save on, in which case I'll just turn it off. If we just file, save, we've now saved that particular chart and we can go away and do whatever we want. We can come back now, we can come back to back into NX Studio and we can move to the next effort. And this particular time, we'll go to another one of the same sorts of efforts, so another running effort. Again, if you remember, if you hit the place on chart button, brings the start time line down to wherever you want. You can zoom in a little bit more. Choose where you might like to start from. This time here, we're going to analyze the whole 300 meters. We'll keep it at 25 meter splits. And if we zoom out, we can just check to see what's occurred. And you can see that, okay, so you can see that in this case here, we've got a little bit of data after where our finish line is. So possibly where we've chosen our start line was not quite right. So we might choose just to move our start line fractionally. So we just move our cursor, move our mouse back over our start line, grab the start line. I'm just clicking on the left mouse button and I'm just simply dragging. I'm going to drag it a little bit and run the process again. Have a look where my finish time is, in which case you can see I've hit the last stroke, and I might say, well, I'm not really actually happy with that because I know that the athlete paddled through the line in this particular effort. So I'm going to move it back simply 2 strokes. 1 and 2. And I'm going to run the process again. And once again, you can have a look down in the message box. You can see that all of the data has been calculated. I can go back and have a look at my finish time. And yes, I'm much more happy with that. Again, the split times are already up. The finish time's there. The finish time also appears under the effort. So the effort is a distance of 300 meters, and the athlete went through in 69.491 seconds. And I can choose to send it off to the clipboard and repeat the process to create the output from that particular training effort once more. Once you're finished with that training session, you can choose to go to the next, choose to go to another session if you've got another session from a different athlete and you want to analyze that, or you can finish up for the day. And to close NX Studio down, all you need to do is simply go up to the Close Windows button up the top, hit on the Close Windows, and that will shut the button down for you. That will shut, NX Studio down for you.